Hello everyone, welcome to Just-InvestToday. And today we're going to be talking about the new deal with TikTok and Walmart and Oracle, which is actually pretty crazy. So I just want to talk about this deal because I want to know if this deal is going to have crazy ramifications down the road with a bunch of Chinese companies and a bunch of US companies selling products in Chinese, and how that's going to affect everything. Because this deal is just crazy because Trump is actually forcing a Chinese company to sell its product basically. So basically, right now we know that TikTok has to split its company, so it has to create an IPO for its company in the U.S. because Trump is actually afraid of security with TikTok. So they're gonna split the company. Oracle and Walmart are gonna have a 20% stake in it, and that's gonna be worth around 50 to 65 billion dollars, which is actually a pretty crazy number when you think about it because this is still a business that's very new. So I'm just trying to think about what is the Chinese gonna do now? Like, are they gonna put more threat on US companies like Apple? Because Apple still sells a lot of products in there, and Facebook and all these US companies that actually want to sell in China. Is that gonna affect business down there? Because we already know that they've been having a lot of back and forth with each other, especially when it comes to tariffs, and that's been happening since 2008. I mean, 2018, 2019, and even like 2016. So we just don't know what's going to happen when it comes to this huge deal because Trump is forcing a Chinese company to sell their products because of national security, which is a good reason if Chinese is actually kind of spying on them. And when it comes to this too, we just if you haven't watched it, Social Dilemma, which is actually a pretty good movie, it's on Netflix, and it actually talks a lot about this how these companies are actually using data and using our privacy to kind of spy on us to kind of figure out what people do and how people move. So I actually kind of seen this coming back, and this actually could probably affect national security, but we don't know. And I guess Trump is making that huge stance on this company. Even though they had to sell the operations, TikTok still has a majority stake in the company. So Walmart and Oracle will take 20%, but the remaining percent will still be with TikTok. So they still have control of all the algorithms, what people see, and how it affects the mass media. So they still have your attention, and they still can kind of maybe affect policies and elections and stuff like that. So we still got to see what comes of this. And now I'm just wondering what's the effects of all this is going to happen on companies, Chinese companies and American companies, like kind of interacting with each other. Like, what's going to happen now? Because you got to remember, this year the American government forced one of the Chinese consulate in Houston to close down, and that was because another thing of national security. So we kind of see a pattern here. So what's going on is Chinese is not trusting the US, and the US is not trusting China. So is this going to have a lingering effect with US and Chinese companies? And this is going to have a big effect because we already know Canadian companies, US companies, they generate a lot of money from China. So if these two forces keep having these crazy discussions about national security and companies and what you can do in my country, this could have a huge effect on the market, and we just don't know what's gonna happen, what's gonna come of this in the future. And we already know the future is really uncertain right now because both sides are threatening each other with tariffs, and you've seen it going back and forth. The U.S. Was forcing tariffs on a lot of Chinese products, and then the Chinese were actually forcing the U.S. to pay a lot on their products too. So there's a lot of uncertainty going on, and then we already know the pandemic hit and the market's going up and down. And on top of that, Trump is blaming Chinese for the virus, basically. So that's causing a lot of conflict, and you can kind of see that in the negotiations. They're still in phase one, and they're still kind of sorting that out. And we don't know if they're gonna be reluctant to even sign that, and because of what Trump is doing and causing harm on the Chinese, saying about the virus and all that type of stuff. So this is a very crazy time right now, and we just don't know what's gonna happen. I'm just wondering how is this gonna affect companies like Alibaba and Chinese companies that trade in US? Like, do we want to invest in those companies? Do we even want to touch those companies right now? Because we just don't know what's gonna happen. Everything's just so uncertain. So I just want to know what your guys' thoughts on that. Should we invest in Chinese companies right now, or should we kind of hold off until the Trump and Chinese have an actual solid agreement past phase one, past phase two? Like, I just want to know what's your opinions on that, guys. That's it for the video. If you guys like this video, please like the video, please comment and subscribe to the channel. It's really gonna benefit me. Thank you guys. Bye.